Today we're diving into brutal cult classics, films that don't entertain, they linger. These aren't midnight comedies. They're disturbing, unflinching, unforgettable. If you're after comfort, come back later. But if you're ready for stories that hurt, that leave a mark, you're exactly where you need to be. Let's get into it. Okay, let's plunge right in with Confessions from 2010. This film grabs you immediately, within the first 10 uninterrupted minutes. Picture it. Quiet classroom, middle school kids zoning out, and their teacher calmly announces she's already poisoned two of them with the milk they just drank. Striking doesn't quite cover it, it's deeply unsettling. What follows is a chilling masterclass in psychological revenge. No car chases, no fistfights. This is meticulous and calculated. That opening monologue? 10 minutes, no cuts, no music, just her calm voice and the students' dawning horror. It sets the tone instantly. The whole thing unfolds with this visually stunning, almost art installation quality, but it's documenting a descent into devastation. The revenge feels precise, cold, almost clinical. And what's unnerving is the sense that she's never really finished, even when you think it's over. Director Tetsuya Nakashima plays with contrast constantly, dreamlike, sterile visuals paired with nightmarish events. The soundtrack jumps from haunting choral music to Radiohead, jarring in a way that keeps you off balance. It's no surprise Japan submitted this for the Oscars. Beneath the shock, the film's dissecting something darker, about the impunity of youth, about desperate measures when justice collapses. By the end, Confessions doesn't ask for your sympathy. It implicates you. It leaves you cold, unsettled, and staring back at yourself, wondering what you just watched, and why it feels like you were part of it. Okay, let's shift gears. Dead Man's Shoes, 2004. This one hits completely different. It's raw, deeply personal, almost like watching someone confess on camera. Paddy Considine delivers a towering performance as a man returning to his bleak hometown like a ghost, seeking revenge for what happened to his younger brother. But he's not a killer, not a soldier on a mission. He's just broken. Grief is what fuels him. And at first, yeah, it feels like a gritty revenge flick, but then it shifts. It becomes sadder, more human. The men he's after? Not masterminds, just small-time bullies. The town around them feels heavy, like it's rotting from the inside. And the violence here? It's clumsy, brutal, sudden. No slick choreography, just pain. And the ending? Not spoiling it, but it redefines everything you've seen. You're not left with closure, you're left with guilt, with regret. It's not justice, it's devastation. The film was made on a shoestring budget, much of it improvised, and that shows in the best way. It's raw, visceral, honest. Every hesitation, every awkward pause, it all feels real. Where Confessions is sharp and surgical, Dead Man's Shoes is messy and emotional. This isn't a revenge fantasy. It's a ghost story where no one gets peace. And it haunts long after the credits roll. The Secret in Their Eyes, 2009, starts with a cold case, the unsolved murder of a young woman that haunts a retired investigator years later. It unfolds slowly at first. Quiet conversations, hazy memories, a melancholy tone. You might think you're settling into a reflective detective story. And then, the twist hits. The rug gets pulled. Everything you thought you understood, wrong. The truth, when it finally comes, is far worse than expected. And what makes it hit so hard is how it's delivered. No music swell, no dramatic punch, just a quiet reveal that completely redefines the story, and it's devastating. This film deserved every bit of its Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film. And technically, it's brilliant. There's an incredible single-take chase sequence through a packed football stadium, no CGI, just pure handcrafted filmmaking. It's a showstopper. But the real horror isn't the crime. It's what comes after. The silence, the waiting, the question the film leaves you with. What do you do when justice fails completely? By the end, The Secret in Their Eyes doesn't hand you resolution. It hands you something colder. A slow, chilling realization. Sometimes justice isn't served, it's buried, locked away and left to rot in the dark. It doesn't end with victory. It ends with you sitting there, haunted. Park Chan-wook's Vengeance trilogy starts with its coldest entry, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. And right from the opening, it's bleak. A deaf-mute factory worker needs a kidney for his dying sister. Desperate, he turns to the black market. It goes wrong. Horribly wrong. In a panic, he kidnaps his former boss's young daughter to raise the money. And from there, the chain reaction begins. What's striking is that there are no clear villains, no heroes, just people trying to survive, making choices that feel human, even understandable, but each one pushes the story deeper into tragedy. There's no neat revenge arc here, no catharsis, just a slow-motion collapse of grief, misunderstanding, and raw consequence. The tone is detached, ice-cold, muted colors, empty spaces, a grim industrial silence. Even the score barely registers, letting the weight of every moment sink in on its own. And the performances? Brutal. You're not watching vengeance unfold. You're watching people fall apart. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance doesn't glamorize anything, it doesn't preach. It just shows what happens when pain gets passed along, one devastating act at a time. By the end, you're not left angry. You're not satisfied. You're drained, numb from watching any chance at peace bleed out slowly. This film doesn't ask, is revenge worth it? It shows you the answer, and it hurts. Okay, jumping ahead to 2013, Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners, a super tense thriller that opens with every parent's worst nightmare. Two little girls vanish. No trace. The police stall. Leads dry up, and one father, Hugh Jackman, in full terrifying mode, takes matters into his own hands. This isn't a whodunit. It's a how far would you go kind of film. And the answer? Way past the line. Jackman starts as a grieving parent, but what unfolds is brutal. Watching him unravel, crossing every moral boundary, is deeply unsettling. There's no hero here, just pain and a creeping sense that he's losing himself. Paul Dano plays the prime suspect, and he's incredibly unnerving, childlike, twitchy, unreadable. You're constantly asking, is he guilty? Or just caught in the wrong place? Jake Gyllenhaal is the detective caught in the middle, trying to follow the law while watching this father spiral out of control. And that tension never lets up. The whole film is soaked in dread. Constant rain, heavy shadows, and a mood that never breaks. Every new clue feels like it's pulling you deeper into something darker. Villeneuve doesn't give you easy answers, just more questions, more cracks in the foundation. And the ending? Subtle, quiet, haunting. Prisoners isn't about justice. It's about fear, what it does to good people, and how it warps even the most righteous intentions. By the end, you're not asking who did it. You're asking, would I have done the same? Liking this list? We've got way more where that came from. Hidden gems, brutal classics, and movies that'll mess with your head in the best way possible. So hit that like button if you're into deep cuts and dark turns, subscribe to Vintageverse, and keep the wild ones coming. Now back to the madness. Next up, 2016's The Whailing from South Korea. It opens with a string of brutal murders in a small, isolated village. The local cop is in over his head, fumbling through a crime scene that feels more cursed than criminal. But this is not your typical police procedural. What starts as a creepy rural mystery takes a sharp, disorienting turn into something stranger. People develop bizarre symptoms, hallucinations, more violence. The villagers start pointing fingers. Poisonous mushrooms? Evil spirits? Or that mysterious Japanese stranger hiding in the woods? Nothing quite fits, and that's the point. Director Na Hongjin builds a slow, creeping unease, then keeps pulling the rug out. One moment, it's a ghost story. The next, a demonic possession. Or maybe it's a plague, or fate, or just mass hysteria. And then comes that exorcism scene. Chaotic, terrifying, unforgettable. Drumming, screaming animal sacrifice. It's overwhelming, hypnotic, and totally unhinged. By the time you reach the final 20 minutes, you're completely unmoored. Clues collapse into contradiction, truth slips away. And what's left is this overwhelming sense of doom. Slow, suffocating, inevitable. The Whailing defies easy labels. It blends horror, mystery, tragedy, even bleak humor. But always under this heavy, creeping dread. You keep thinking you'll figure it out, but you never do. There's no comfort here, no escape. Just the quiet realization, something has already claimed this place, and it might have claimed you too. Deep breath for this one. Irreversible, 2002. Gaspar Noé's infamous film opens with a man's face being destroyed by a fire extinguisher. One take. No music. No relief. It feels real. Because it's meant to. And that's not the climax. It's the beginning. The story unfolds in reverse, scene by scene, backward, revealing the events leading up to that moment and the brutal assault at the film's center. The structure isn't a gimmick, it's the entire emotional engine. You see the consequence first, then the cause. And it hurts. Noé weaponizes disorientation. A spinning camera, a bass frequency designed to make you physically uncomfortable. This film doesn't want you to enjoy it, it wants you to endure it. The assault scene in the underpass? It's the film's horrifying core, long, unbroken, unwatchable, and deliberate. But as the film rewinds, something strange happens. It gets softer, more human. You see love, laughter, moments that would be beautiful if you didn't already know what was coming. Noé called it a film that punishes, and it absolutely does. There's no comfort, no redemption, just irreversible damage and the aching knowledge that nothing can be undone. Irreversible forces you to witness loss not just as an event, but as a timeline collapsing in on itself. By the time you reach the beginning, it's already too late. And that's the point. Blue Ruin 2013 delivers a completely different kind of revenge story. Grounded, gritty, no polish, no fantasy. Just a man in a beat-up car scavenging to survive until he hears the man who shattered his life is getting out of prison, and that's all it takes. But here's the twist. He has no skills, no experience, no weapons training. He's not a killer, just desperate. And when he decides to take revenge, everything goes wrong. Fast. This isn't slick. It's messy. His plans are half-formed. His violence is clumsy. The results? Ugly, realistic, often darkly, awkwardly funny in a grim, human way. He's not doing this for justice. He's obsessed, lost, and totally out of his depth. Director Jeremy Saulnier keeps it stripped down. Small cast, tight locations, and a raw, natural performance from Macon Blair. That low budget? It works. It adds to the tension. Every pause, every hesitation feels earned. The film is a slow burn, quiet, even gentle at times. Then, without warning, the violence hits. Sudden, brutal, and it doesn't feel cool. It feels like watching a person break. And the ending? It's not a climax. It's a surrender. No victory, no relief, just exhaustion. Blue Ruin peels back every layer of revenge. There's no glory, no catharsis, just fear, grief, and a man fumbling through something he'll never be ready for. This is what vengeance really looks like. And it's hard to watch. Now it's I Saw the Devil, another South Korean powerhouse and one of the most twisted, morally gray revenge films ever made. A top-tier secret agent's fiancée is murdered by a sadistic serial killer. But instead of ending it clean, he makes a different choice. He chooses to inflict pain. Slowly, relentlessly, he catches the killer and lets him go. Again and again. Each time, the punishment escalates. More brutal, more humiliating, more dehumanizing. This isn't justice, this is sport, a horrifying game of cat and mouse where the rules keep getting bloodier. Choi Min-sik of Oldboy is terrifying at first, calculated, cruel. But as the agent keeps tightening the vice, he transforms into something else entirely. A broken, whimpering victim. And the scariest part? You start to question who the real monster is. Director Kim Ji-woon doesn't flinch. The violence is graphic, unfiltered, but it's shot with operatic precision. Gorgeous, horrifying, almost poetic in its brutality, which only makes it more disturbing. Because while the killer's crimes are unspeakable, watching the agent slowly become worse is the film's true descent. By the end, there's no closure, no relief. The final scene doesn't resolve anything. It curses both men, locked in an endless loop of torment and loss. I Saw the Devil is revenge pushed past the breaking point. It doesn't deliver justice. It drags you into hell and makes you watch. And finally, Oldboy, 2003. Park Chan-wook again, and a true icon of the genre. The premise alone is unforgettable. A seemingly ordinary man is imprisoned for 15 years. No explanation, no trial. Just a small room, a TV, and fried dumplings. Every day. Then one day, without warning, he's released. Given a suit, a phone, and one mission. Find out who did this to him and why. What follows is twisted, relentless, and emotionally devastating. Yes, the one-take hallway hammer fight gets all the attention, and it deserves it. It's raw, desperate, unforgettable. But the real gut punch comes after, when the truth unravels. Because Oldboy isn't just about revenge, it's about control. About manipulation so insidious, it turns the victim into a weapon in someone else's carefully designed nightmare. Park Chan-wook crafts this atmosphere of dread with elegant precision. Slow zooms, gorgeous, unsettling compositions, juxtapositions of classical music with absolute horror. And that live octopus scene? It's not just shock value, it's a commitment to the extreme. Choi Min-sik is magnetic, transforming from a wild, vengeful creature into a man utterly shattered by what he learns. His performance is operatic, animalistic, and then empty. The final reveal isn't satisfying, it's horrifying. And when the credits roll, you don't feel like justice was served, you feel tainted, exposed. Oldboy is a revenge thriller on the surface, but underneath, it's a tragedy, one that poisons everyone it touches. Some movies leave you cheering. These? They leave you stunned, staring at the screen, questioning everything, maybe even a little shaken.